enkoye na lawyer koye mo and what am bisa o petrol to say saying it's saying o electricity
enkoye based on the
economy no economy
minimum
economy enkoye kra
economy is realistically the trump card of this government
paper so o pa si abontin say o kokko memre ha
yes
ko tiptoe lane ne ko bi so mo na hwe say what they will tell you economy na nene dey paper so this is the only government or what sexy macroeconomic indicators and so bibi enkoye na wonu say akwase abesi bibi e wo
adentia
economy o kai sa ban we ba first me betina aka kire wo say me akra me acknowledge say the way almost associate niema na isi kono because niema ye nim say o my way boa affect ye fu omboa exchange rate yeah it's what inflation or effect no
the effect
inflation there no is not an end it's just the means it's what just and we're all excited you know I don't know just say I feel all of a sudden I bet just maintain you say a name no ka say me electricity na me turn in 2024 akosro times akosro by 24% than senior na etie in the past me insu ako 15% more than senior net year in the past. So I just say school fees and collect 1,600 and yet you are 2,735. These are real figures.
Mamenchia na memo akwa banfa wombra afidie so wadaroma bomodin say obe like me video ama me no share nditiro no fa wadwenkyere bra na Dennis Miracle Abuaje ya wono oye communications director ya nei meka wono mo kasa ma Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia wono na oye titina ni na se wodi animo no de nsem bia to dwabra okopie mu ewo obi dwumadi so ne nsem a waka nyina ne se ene wo hwe ba bia economy no abedro no dia na chesampa ya hwe ase a ne sa na wono mpo no onya rehemu ebra NDC aban ba so foforo na wo hwe se de niam ahye ase a na ekoyie kakra dollar eba form inflation eba form said ye see the nya hoden ne niam betoto yie no onya rehemu se bia oman no ebekoyie pa se na NDC aban aka koye se yensa ene etwa ne ano na ye wie se wo man no sebi foto ya bo ato ho no no eno na NDC aban wafa ya wode esa echinchimu a te said yakonyi sika bi afri baabi ne ya sebi ye botomu eye empty no ye nya bi mfa mpia no amane ma hyase ye de se petrol yentumi ento wonom kire se ye gold reservoir NPP aban baye obe page mu free 8 tons e de ko 30 something tons no and then isi ba ma betam fa aton ade aka no krampo no adane ye huntahunu omunya ya nka omefa ton Bank of Ghana dan ya tesi ye sinka omunya ya nka ometon free se omani ni sika ene yakosi dan fefe ede asi ho ene nsem bebre no a na Dennis Miracle Abuaje ne ono de sebi obi ntimi nkyere ne nsem obi nkasa ma no nene oni NDC ni de shebi kopie ho no no aka se onu ne ho so oni Dennis hia yenko na yenko tie nkoma twetwe ne bibire ekoso na obi mpo ne ho kora dwire no Asempa FM ho yenhwe na yentie nkoma ni bodaroma like video yi mame nyame hira opa
omedwa obi teacher for the next one omkoya line to abama on upuyi wuti efa o Land Cruiser mu ewo mu school ni mshomo boss oba obey automatic posting in fact one of the teacher nursing students grabbed your microphone patch our apologize across over to abeti 2016 you remember that video yeah what ba won ye mom ye was why are there omomonye wo so obi he when you disaggregate the Ghanaian today that is when the NDC will see their smoothness level me ma kwa isi say fa na mako catch a trotro driver what tip to lane and say dey na wire man dey na catch makwala woman or ton tomatoes mama okwan catch na dey ba kwa wire man dey na wire man ka
owia menka yamfa diesel bu anko do 23 o kroma
okay that's fine
obi won say we this for when na make say ya on to ne bono o kasa say ya we say toto da baby o tie bia we the boy we ndent ya obi ndent ya no ndent ne boy fu no o ya we onye sebe e jibi fu o ya we say wo okoto abama wa o buy na diesel ni 23 na 14.9 onimu it will be the radio so bisa say then na wire man okasa say ya can you stop this obisa say then na wire man okache ne say one fa diesel anko 20 wumbu no because time na okoye line ato abama no na diesel ni 23 nko anko be onimu ko be fa so be take a decision the guys voted for you when diesel was 14.9 oba how they 15 obisa wa kra me fa nko 23 oba na 23 what kind of disrespect is this obi What kind of disrespect is this? And you have been a year, you might feel 23 bar 14 a mile. Tell I they call 9, was they call 15. No. Tell now what they call 9, what they about 15. No. Then the panel bisa when June. We bisa said then why a man has structure there was 75 or 23. What do call 15? Over 14. No. Until you feel no nim nyansa. O nim say na 14 na obeto ye. And you no to. Me bisa o say ma me na ne ba. No level 200 no die vandi no. Dia na wire man na. Dia na obeka che no. No to 62 or to 78. Same stress na auto electricity 1,000 cities a year no. And auto 1,240. Into bisa say dia na wire man na dia na obeka che no. Those are the things I will be more expected to become. One because I am now better now and CPPSA and PPPSA and PPSA. You annoy the people. You annoy them. You become very annoying. He said in so fire. Now my ministers are cutting a party as a award the moment. When cocoa farmers have not been paid for 9 months. When teachers have worked for 15 months, they've not been paid. Unemployment Accra 50%. In the last 12 months, unemployment increased by 17%. The young people are waiting for their 3 shifts. Untumi yeyo. Makotina party ase na moji award mamo ho. Na de ayi akra ne so obi. Omo moji award no. Tie ne ye. De onya best regional minister no. Tama na oji award no wala bade no. Na nsuo e fa ne region no. De onya best performing male minister no. Tama na oji award no. Na Galamsey. He's the worst performing when it comes to the management of Galamsey. Lance minister. Penifua yedi omaya shamonsa. Ayedi omaya japadi shamonsa se monshaso. Na makutuya bribe 50,000 Ghana cedis. Any 25,000 Ghana cedis. Say yema mabudin.
Allegedly.
No. Pesa white omo boss. Omo budebi. Enya lige omo boss no. Omo boss. And kamena make kan kabek say alleged. We di omo boss. CEO so omo boss na pesa white.
Because organizers since what baby denies.
Pesa white say ono oya we ono show mo so. Mpedifo ayedi omaya hye mo nsa wo. Se mo hwe so mayen. Insuo mene yen. Me no ka say insuo mu na Ghana fo bebre yem hye omo. Obi free 90 friend say 90 kojo ho me fa say fi be 90 sirimu de. Ye be dey dance say aban bia ba yenya flooding. It's become a perennial problem. But there is a reason why I buy way in particular mobile. Not flooding situation, air devastating. And I will explain to you. Okay, June 3rd, 2015.
Yeah, 2015. Sure.
You see, Obi, the AT I buy way baby air devastating. They say, Omu ye lazy. Omu kasado, Omu ye juma, underbo, Oma kasasa, Omu ye baby. And you see, Opa Koshe Rollins cried, okay, so no, she got the mutitimu. Na Koshe Kofo, na Koshe Tamils. You realize that there's a certain pattern. The governments always prepare. They'll be doing dredging, desilting, year public education, announce flashpoint, any red zones, not to say flooding will not come, but a reducing impact. But the entire Ambrebia, some company when you are buying way was to be a devastating. In the past 1 week, Nipa Bear Force as an and then bear trios as an ebu. The reason why it happens under them like that is because Obi, yedu maybe almost nasa, Omonisu better names will not talk. A certain form of phenomenon. Yenu Kromwa, and almost fire helicopter Nanting Krahenas or anti-flood task force, led by the deputy chief of staff.
Yes. What's
it? Mami, one video, one picture, Tama and Sue started say eto. I will say anti-flood task force on what Bontenche Ghana for. One. In fact, almost call around the years I reckon, give me one report. And I said one presentation, more mind say, oh, after all the reconnaissance, this is the roadmap. Short-term strategy, medium-term strategy, long-term strategy. One. They have no respect for the people. Opa bisani sisi ya say flood Akufo-Addo so far enonkwa. In so offend nipa 2026. Ubi so mo ka say Akufo-Addo. Untu ya kokko ekuafoka ubi so no say Akufo-Addo. Teacher for to me from Akufo-Addo. It is aban no buy no. Obi aban is so weak, so lousy to the extent say ohun nti hun nan. Hwe omo ba ba mu na niema in fact as at December last year. Ubi so bibia dollar abafem. Fuel abafem, inflation abafem. I don't want just a baby abafebia. Once I fed omugusu yi mfiri mu mako, fe afede fuel omo ye from monka biom. Afiaka 2 no kra $1 na so ko. Nti si omo ka omo de omo ne bafem. Tiaka 1. Ye koya na ye bae. I see a market time. I see a market time under this government. Omo de yekɔ run say no mo de abesi faako. Omo de yekɔ run say no mo de abesi faako. And everybody is confused. In fact, Obi, there is no clarity as to where this government is taking the country. Bisa education for say teacher for say mo plan a by way vision for education ye. At least Obi Abeja to me say in the previous government there was a clear cut strategy to deal with second cycle education. Obi Mbwa. There was a clear cut. The free SHS, the infrastructure intervention in there, it was clear. Omo de ni den. Health. At least under the previous government, at least what you have about 60 hospitals. 60 hospitals under the previous government. 60 hospitals 31 of them we started from scratch and completed. Almost one hospital almost see Western region. Almost started see Western region maybe one. Almost one Ashanti region. Obi, when COVID struck, the government realized say, we've identified a gap at the district level. 88 districts did not have health facilities. So this government set out to build 111 hospitals. That includes the 88 district hospitals and other regional and tertiary hospitals. At least there was some clarity. Said this is what the government is trying to do. Major intervention in the health sector. What is their plan? Obi, do you have clarity? What is the strategy?
On health?
Yes. There are serious issues. Obi here, who promise young people of this country. And I will see the problem in this one is Sabi. Ghana for Jimmy. Sabi, enti omuka asemna omufri said the omom beka tese na meka was 23 no wakatum officer Ghana for Jimmy nti no ma giatum. Obi, who promise young Ghanaian students say wo ba omo brands omo to menya access to university. Nti to de bum kran to me nko. E stressful. Into be yi stress in fi ho. That was the promise. One can say offer stress mu wie. Natanity ye not to be fast straight to school and it's not the same promise. So Obi, the problem is not about interest too. The problem is that there are still hundreds of thousands of young Ghanaians on to be uncle school in the last 2 academic years because they couldn't find the money to enter for you to even refund. That is the reality. That is what we are talking about. That was not the promise you gave them. O catch the Ghana for clear. What's so bad? Ebimbe konopa. No more point year 2. Nebi mako 2. No more upon 6. Never more 6. No more upon the next morning. Obi, was that not the promise? Were you not here when me any Phyllis Kwacho for so honorable? I better have a debate. In fact, our debate was one of the most flagship videos and uncomfortable on 24-hour economy. I may catch and say, a push and pull situation. Demand and supply. What to mean for 2 and see a beating gadgets could be almost 1 bay. Were you not here? Our guy say, Lakeside crowd watch it. We are better watch another. Omo kache is a public institutions from best starting. Ombe konopa, no more po ewia, no more po enyumne. They would triple the workforce in the public sector. Omo chairman kai say, a friend is saying, Techiman Council of Organizer, and I do 3 obey Juma. Omo penny at the manifesto launch, a kind say, Boomerang. He mentioned disco, Boomerang, ye wahi. Ombe banopa, no more po a friend is say, Ebima ko ewia, into area 11 crano, net disco ebo. He opened his mouth and said it. When I'll catch a to Abama, Obi, have you even seen anything? Anything at all? Have you seen anything? One thing that say Ghana ha? Yeah, baba ya 133 woman we.
So about launching policy documents.
Show me where in the policy. Show me where in the policy. Show me where in the policy. Show me where in the authority in that act. That point act no. Can be a point to say there's going to be a 133 shift job in this country. One, would be able to show me, I'll leave the rest of the time for him. Why do we do that to the people? Why? I didn't hear treaty or man for me to me a kosala to Obama yensa. I didn't hear him, sir. Why do we do that to the people? Why? The people are suffering. Obi, inflation is at 3, and yet the cost of living is quadrupling. Dollar was 12, and yet the cost of living is quadrupling. Obi here, and then from the middle sector all the way to the northern sector, the economy is collapsing there. Because they are agrarian. The local agric industry, I'm sure you are aware. Cereal is the mainstay, so you are aware. Obi konof. Even the inputs for this crop season, because the finance minister and the agric minister are fighting. Agric minister they say finance minister are infantile propagandists. Agric minister or say finance minister dey infantile propagandist na otwantro sikese so the man no dey ye adwuma na se bi agric sector no ono finance minister tena so obi agric minister agric ministry release no mo ye na nadwo no ubehu say when the finance minister was releasing their evidence, there was a buffer stock line. And that's somebody releasing 200 and something thousand.
200 million.
Let me tell you. So that 200 million is money released to buy feeding way for secondary schools. What's a buffer stock? Or national reserve. Yeah. More school feeding. School feeding there, and you know why that was there? That money didn't go to the Greek ministry. School feeding, secondary school feeding, this time gets funded here. And then gets fund. See you no. Nanka under education no. On the education minister no krankasa.
That's an allegation.
No. It is public. It is public information. Any allegation is public information.
I have not seen that.
Oh, to the extent say, as we speak, or no, get fund. Friend is saying, see you. He hasn't been to the education ministry for weeks or reported to finance ministry. Gold board. It was under land ministry. Where you have land ministry or the finance ministry.
So, PMMC and one the land.
Nasa gold board, PMMC there.
Gold board. PMMC, defunct. Gold board is a new creation.
And I'm saying now we hear free what they call finance.
So in the new act, more under finance.
Friend is saying cocoa board. Now agric. What they hear free what call finance. Senate. Now it was under labor and employment.
Cocoa board and now do not the bar agric.
Yes.
Before now, no wonder.
And yes, so quite on Eriko Poku one call him free work because Eriko Poku has always been the champion of cocoa for the NDC. Mebwa in opposition,
ranking on cocoa, agric and cocoa affairs.
And see about the saying and Nippon no you're ranking on agric and cocoa affairs on the Agric minister. But what you free? That thing was there already. I know you free ho. Senate. We ye free ho, free labor and the court finance. We use Senate fee employment labor then I come on. So ministry then I go. Obi, if you want evidence of how bad the economy is being run, and the conform budget 2025, every ministry is complaining. The minister is basically holding on to everything, and the people are the ones bearing the brunt and suffering. And then mobile transport fare and 90 cities from Accra to Kumasi, and I'm 120. Was why are the M1s in Mount? It is to one person honorable MPTA. Sector bang, nipa bang na wagana ha, teacher niyo, nurse niyo, friend is saying, driver, one over to my head and you ma card ba kwa bang we buy. Would you want to me in a menu about 18 months? No, it would 18 months when you are there about Okrama Ghana for Tom. 18 months in Obi, 18 months in a 1 year be back Okra, would you for the Wakanya Yate, a Kupa cathedral, or you say Yate, Tina Tutiano. Wo buy you, wo now will say, wo buy then away. 18 months. What is your record in 18 months? Tell the people. Mention the sector and tell them what you have done for them. Mention the sector and tell them what. Only propaganda if you are among throwing propaganda. We see China. We be a so we try and say that 23 cities. No, if you are almost to be crash inflation government 2054. We if you are Obi. See, we are not autopilot. And your autopilot now you're wanting to and a fool. All of a sudden, one war in Iran within weeks, a movie called 15. I do say, everyone so manage economy ni year na nuti na fu oba afem no. E ba ne se na obi kunu to kwa Iran etu ma fu okosoro. Mo se mo na mo ye na fu oba afem. Everybody knew that before you came to office, the international crude prices were already heading downwards, and that crude, friend is saying, oil prices were coming down. Everybody knew that. But mo ba na ade no ko mo ba na ko na mo jify. Ebane saying, and economy you are in charge. Economy you have control over it. Economy more strategies na amani ameni na akofem no. Ebane saying, and all of a sudden, full. Ajinsem apa baby amu be free no. You know, we say engineer ma menum say ebisa say it's say and your crack say ye. But you see how can say na when you be ambo. You see engineer here ambo. Senior system na enkoyi na lawyer koyi mo. And what am bisa o petrol to say saying it's saying
electricity based on the
economy no economy minimum economy kra
economy is realistically the trump card of this government.
Paper so o pa si abontin say o kokko memory ha
yes
ko tiptoe lane ne ko bi so mo na hwe say the what they will tell you economy na nene dey paper so this is the only government or what sexy macroeconomic indicators. And so be enkoye. Now, when you say akwasi abesi be o.
Adentia.
Economy okay say buy we bar first me bet na catch we say me akra me acknowledge say the way almost ahye niema na isi kono because niema ye nim say o my way boa affect ye fu omboa exchange rate
yeah.
So what inflation or effect no
the effect
inflation there no is not an end, it's just the means. It's what just and we're all excited, you know. I don't know what to say. I feel all of a sudden I bet just as you say a name no can say me electricity and be turned in 2024 akosro times akosro by 24% than senior a year in the past. Me insu ako 15% more than senior net year in the past. So I just say school fees and then collect 1,600 and yet you are 2,735. These are real figures. We will not numbers kiko. Crofo brabo munsem. And no, you cannot run away from it. So you can't run away from it. Inti and I mean the be me kasa once the be me catch say abani de ye be tuno. But enye omo fail na me ye tuno. See you do 2028 now. There's going to be a conversation between the NDC candidates and the MPP candidates. Mpempenso na on mine wono. Mumie no when no wo adwenya any nimdia ebetumi de abode ye wono ho ban. Na the account to be account. That is how the elections will be won. It has nothing to do with the failure of the NDC. I'm not expecting the NDC to fail. Inti sanse mo no me kan sisi a me ka say NDC no on be CC niam atenetene niam. Me kan say because obi me ka say me kuku efu on fra no.
Yes.
Ayeso no ko infra no. Koko me village na kasa na ye infra no. Ba be bia koko efu na kasa we fa na dwabo.
Okay.
E wo enuma pepe echi. The economy is dead because cocoa farmers they have not been paid since 2025 October. Cocoa farmers in this country are owed in excess of no, but see they are owed in excess of 6.5 billion. Remember, I said it was about 11 billion.
Yes.
Until you 50%, and as 50% in the cry and you will be an answer will be 100% of the sick will be crying since October 2025. Unprecedented. How are they supposed to survive? So these people, you don't gaslight them and come and give them numbers on paper. And then you come and tell them, say, no, that first net is saying. First, they don't care about that. They go for the no or retirement. Well, you to about my buying for to bring prosperity to the people. We must get them to work.
Yeah, but I was say, also remind them of my record.
It doesn't matter. We haven't at the moment, some in cassette of our
okay.
Make Kenya Magazette of our Debbie. Yendru woye ekomu di nipa wo say abato ekomu di nipa wo say o remind you of MPP now remind me enti obi wo fase no wo second no o remind me say na MPP abre so net say ono efa no be and now school fees are no 2,600 so 2,600 enti o remind na MPP efa no be wo bande na ka kire no wo ka kire say MPP de no mo ye na me ye nkometo wo ma hwe kokoko akuafo ka kire so mo 6,500 Ghana cedis. At the time, I'm MPP more 3,200. At the time, I'm finance minister, a ranking member of finance. Agric minister, a ranking member of agric. They had more knowledge about the cocoa sector and the economy than every other person. In spite of their knowledge of the situation at Cocoa Board, they still say it's almost 6,500. To the extent that
based on the circumstances then.
But they
at the time.
But they insisted. So okay, say your friend is saying obey finance minister can vet and Krombisa no Sankai.
Yes.
And sometimes what was the difference? Go and check the figures. Tell me the difference in circumstance between January 2025 and June 2025. So what is here? Cocoa Board debt no between January and June no e bi be kan ho. Omo no de kan ho ana. Because you are blaming the debt. So that democracy is here. So people are suffering. And they will be up for 5 o'clock. Or better if you 1 a.m. because of transport crisis. Now, last week Wednesday,
government responded with new buses for Metro.
Last week Wednesday, which is new, latest.
Yes.
Joy News. Omo posti video 10 p.m. Circle Uncle Fuguso airline time no bedu fie. Obi, there are serious. You see these things. It's very annoying. Very, very annoying when people in government always come and tell you MPP. MPP one the MPP. Obi be me tie me MPP ni. But honestly, you do 2020. I don't care about MPP. I want you to fix the problems. Fix it. Into be just wa kopem time about tofu for best ones when we are actually suffering. Like we are hungry. Obi a come dem crofo he who promise teacher for automatic posting. One year mom, omo bisa was MPP for JB. What do they care about that? They knew when MPP was in office. And they knew say MPP and to me and automatic posting and mom no to abawa. Mention one promise a buy way sa frakadam a buy way. Ma promise ba come buy o ma fulfill.
Oh.
Boy,
the president promised say he would tackle the economic malaise near women, turn around the fortunes of the economy. He's done that. At least the figures show say he's done that.
You see, that is where the problem is. And you bear me witness. From day one, I told you as early as June 2025, said this is the only government running a contradictory economic system. Okay, inflation is confirmed. And so cost of living rising. You remember I told you?
Yes.
Now saying your research desk, Joy, research, and they realize say what is actually driving the inflation down. And impacted directly on a lot of the ordinary people. In fact, the cost of food has risen more than every other thing. And you know, say inflation in a basket.
Yes.
And they wait it. Until the question you should be asking yourself, say, what we should be doing now is what the Joy News team did, disaggregating the things in the basket to check whether indeed Niamana driving inflation down, or Niamana affecting Ghanaian people. Now that is not the case. Obi here, what the finance minister is doing, every economic management person can do it if they want to achieve sexy numbers like this. Mop up liquidity, sweep money from people's pockets. Spending. When you are not spending, inflation would go down because inflation is demand and supply, competitiveness, and the man inflation here they cost. It is a finance minister and just kind of think of like he's not to go and check their budget. 2025 budget, they barely spend 30% of their budget budgetary allocation for infrastructure. You're not spending. Obi, if you don't spend, inflation will go down. That is the truth. But so one spend it.
But they are spending this year.
Wait. Won't they say first quarter we're saying planned budget in ad and that's you. Won't you go and they won't kayana.
No. I've heard Oman Kasa budget
no, me say go and look at the figures. Go, if you want to understand these things and say we won't debate in vagueness.
No, I've seen the figures.
Yes, and what does it tell you? What does it tell you?
Figures Nenka say they've not spent
money. No, but majority of it is sitting down. Go and look at the figures. You go and look at it.
2.4 billion, and it's because of revenue shortfall.
Now, then what does that mean?
So 2.4 cannot be.
No, I'm just saying. So what does that mean to you? Okay, was a big push. Okay, Obi, what is the impact of big push in the last 8-9 months? Big push is a long-term investment. Road infrastructure, a long-term economic investment. Road infrastructure, a long-term economic investment. Oh yes, what is the short-term plan? Which government didn't construct road? Abayin now constructing road. Abayin now baswa 1 year kwai e wo man we mu. As we speak, Obi,